Hi, everyone. Welcome to Chair Yoga. I'm going to begin today's practice with some meditation, and we'll do that by way of breath work. So I'll have you find a comfortable seat that you feel well positioned, well aligned. So I would encourage you to not lean back into the backrest. It's not that kind of meditation. We're not in that state. We're coming into full awareness. So instead, make sure your feet are grounded. That's going to be important. And that you really feel that connection. You're mindful of how you're holding your legs and aware of your feet and your sit bones into the chair seat as our connection to the earth. I did this practice last week. I really like it, so I'm going to use it again today. So come into that place where you feel like you have real good posture, in a place of right alignment. And let's close the eyes. Let your hands be wherever you'd like them to be, however you'd like them to be, just for now. And just begin to connect with the deepness of your breathing. Let's see if we can even out the breath, the length of the breath. So, fairly soon in our pranayama, we'll bring ourselves to the awareness of how long it takes us to take an inhale. So, just simply counting. And then there'll be a bit of a pause, and then exhale that out for at least the same number or even longer. 1 or 2 counts longer would be great, would be just fine. Let's put it that way. So, either way, that they're just even, or that you extend that exhale just a bit. And I'll just remind you that it won't take long. It won't take long to establish that balance of breath, the balance between the inhale and the exhale. So you won't have to count very long. But it brings us into that very alert and focused mind right off the bat. Aware of the length of the breath as it comes in and matching up our exhale to that same length. So we feel a balance coming over us, this sense of balance. And bring your hands palms down on your thighs. So palms are down, facing down on your thighs, so that you feel the compression, the gentle compression of your hands to your legs. And we're going to again be connecting to our sense of grounding, or said differently, our sense of connecting to the earth energy. We're going to draw that earth energy into the heart. So as you inhale, feel your connection to the ground through your feet, through your sit bones, maybe even through the palms of your hands as you press into your legs. Inhale that earth energy into your heart space and let the exhale help it to expand in your heart center, in that chest cavity. And again, inhale, drawing in from earth energy, the portal being your feet, your sit bones, bringing that earth energy into your heart and let it expand as you exhale. One more time. Connecting to earth energy, bringing it into the body and letting it expand in your heart. As your breath just goes back to its normal rhythm, we're going to bring more awareness now and focus into the crown of the head. So we can draw in the energy of the stars in the sky. So our portal is inhaling through the crown of the head as it comes into the body. It's same thing, it's going to expand as we exhale into the heart. So inhale through the crown of the head and drawing that energy into the heart, and let it expand as you exhale. Inhale again from the stars in the sky through the crown of the head into the heart center. Exhale, it'll expand. Now, keeping your eyes closed, just layer your hands on your chest bone. So you're just layering your hands at the center of the heart center, just to help us feel that connection to the body and to this energy center. As we now just completely find our breath moving in and out right there in the heart center. Maybe you'll feel your chest rise and fall. You'll feel the expansion by just having your hand there, and of course the inner awareness. Let's take a few breaths. Don't worry, I'll keep count. Stay right here, breathing in and out, expanding through the heart center with every breath. Using the energy of the earth and the energy of the stars in the sky to come together in the heart to create loving kindness. Kind of a foundation of loving kindness within us today. Beautiful. Let's release our hands back to the lap and maybe flutter the eyes open. So I'll meet you on the chair. We're going to use that block to align the feet. So I want you to bring the block to the floor and let your ankles come around it. I'm mentioning this because I just keep noticing how I do it. Make sure your feet are level, or, they're straight. I don't know what the word I'm trying to say, because I keep stepping one foot forward and the other one back just a bit, like an inch or two, and it's like, that isn't it. I'm trying to place my feet, in parallel position. So just bringing some awareness into the ankles, and that too brings you right back into this sense of grounding. And there's a great stability in that awareness of being held by the earth and connecting there. So let's begin. Connect our breath, inhaling up and stretch through those arms. Exhale as you bow into your own heart. Inhale back up. And let's just hold it there and separate the palms and extending. So just the basics today. I'm going to certainly be revisiting the basics of strength, flexibility, and balance. So really step your feet to the earth. Feel that little imprint that you're making as you lift up. It's like you're trying to lift your rib cage away from your hips. And you're going to straighten your arms and keeping those arms as close to your head as you are able to do. A little back bend, simply pull your hands back. Keep pulling your outstretched, extended arms back, palms facing each other, and it'll lift up your rib cage. And then you can decide about how much of this cervical spine, how much of the neck is going to take part in this little back bend. So if you're feeling a lot of flexibility and availability, you can just lift your chin and let your face lift up toward the ceiling. But if you're feeling a little bit, not concerned about that or not real sure, just you can keep a real neutrality about your head and still you're in a back bend. Let's deepen the breath now. So our breath really visits this posture, really is intertwined within our experience of it. You really feel the breath in the back bend. Good. And then when we come back to neutral, arms are neutral now, back feels neutral. I want you to drop your fingertips to touch your scapula. You're trying to get your fingertips back to your shoulder blades or some part of your back. And then keep lifting up through the elbows. Couple breaths here. Soft hands, just touching the back. Arms are as close to the head as you can. Earth energy or connecting the feet to the floor so you feel the strength and stability of your lower body. Good. Let's just kind of open up. I still have contact with the upper part of the shoulders. Now we've created those wings. Let's try some circles here. conscious circles. So you're really moving through and trying to pay attention to the movement and how that feels in your body. Let's do this as a vinyasa. So inhale as those elbows lift up. Exhale as you circle down, and we're going to change the direction of that. Inhale backwards. Exhale, elbows come down through the front. Inhale and exhale. This time when we get the circle completed, let's bring our arms all the way down the sides of the chair's frame and turn the palms forward into our mountain pose. Make sure your head feels level or neutral. So the level word is about the jawline, that you want to feel like your jawline is parallel to the floor rather than lifting your head up or tilting down. And then let's extend out. Let's extend out into that T shape. Stretch your hands open wide. Feel the expansion through the whole, length of your arms. Turn your head to look side to side. Let's see how the neck feels today. Move around a little bit. Don't feel locked into holding. Turn and hold. That's not necessarily where you want to be. So give yourself permission to explore and get curious. The intention here being, how's the neck doing? What kind of range of movement do we have? Excellent. Come back to center. Let's create that cactus-like position. So elbows are bent, hands are up, palms face forward. Pull back a little bit. Pull back with your arms. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, and that's going to be our full open position. Open is going to be the inhale. Exhale, of course, is closing and bringing those forearms together. So inhale, pull back. Exhale, come forward. Inhales, open. Exhales, close. Next time you're in that open position, just be neutral. Don't pull back too much. And see if you can drop your fingertips down. So palms come down, fingers drop down, and your elbows are still up. And it's awkward. See what you can do about moving the lower parts, your forearms. Keep your hands engaged. So it's not like a ragdoll position, but it's engagement. You're just trying to see if you can move, like as if you could keep your elbows right where they are and move around from there. That they don't move, just the forearms do, the wrists. Good, and then we're going to keep the arms up. So let's start circling the hands, get a lot of movement through your wrists. Very fluid. Change the direction often. You're just trying to find lots of movement through the wrists and into the hands, fingers. If you can start to kind of strum your fingers, so individual movement of the fingers instead of just this fluid kind of connected movement, let's just introduce a little bit of strumming so the fingers each get a chance to kind of move around all at the same time, the wrists. Open and close, like make a fist and then extend it open. So stretch into a fist and then spring it loose. Good. And then arms come along the side of the body, and we're back in our mountain pose now. We're going to get a hold of the block and use it to do some extensions away from center. So I want you to open your feet maybe a little wider than the chair legs and bring your block in its highest position to the ground in front of you. Keep your sit bones on the chair. Make sure you feel very connected to the chair, but you're extending your upper body away from the chair with the support of the block. So you're just kind of exploring your own range of movement. How far can you extend? Try this. Try bringing your head down so that you feel your arms
encircling your head. In other words, you feel your arms going right past your ears, right past your head. If you're able to get that kind of an extension, take advantage of that. Feet to the earth, making that deep imprint with your feet. Sit bones down. You're not leaving the chair. You're extending away from it. Can you leave the block right where it is and get one hand at a time to your thighs and squeeze your elbows in towards your waistline and come up a little higher, maybe halfway. Let's deepen the breath here. Press the palms down into your legs so you're really creating that dynamic tension as we lift the perineum up off the chair on an inhale. Exhale, relax back. Inhale, float the perineum up off the chair. Hold it, and then release back. So find your own rhythm of movement. Really give yourself to this practice of toning the perineum. And I want you to notice this time how it feels, or if you feel engagement of the inner thighs more prominently than on other things that we do. I think this really gets into that part of the body. This is all part of core strength when we engage the strength of those inner thighs. And that brings that right up into the groin, right into the perineum. So just do 2 or 3 more. It's still a full inhale. And then maybe you hold it and then you exhale completely. Exhale. Excellent. Let's come all the way up. Just take a little pause in an upright position. Maybe we'll go through our breath connection, inhaling up, palms are overhead, exhaling, we're bowing into our heart space, inhaling back up and exhaling all the way around. Let's get another circle of the shoulders and the strong arms. And we're going to go find our block. This time, take it off center, right or left, your choice. Just take it off center and stretch. Keep your sit bones down. Notice how you might be tempted to list, and you're going to try to keep your pelvis level, keep your pelvis balanced left to right, right to left, as you extend away from your body and letting your block give you a source of support here. It's like you're grounded. Your hands are grounded by using the block. Pay attention to how you're managing the weight of your head. So the neck is not being overlooked, that as you extend away from your body, stretching your arms, stretching your whole chest cavity and the side body, that you're aware that this affects how your neck is trying to hold up the weight of the head. Good. Let's use this same side. So I'm just going to kind of walk myself back to center, but I've got the block in hand to the same side I stretched on. I'm going to stay with that same side and bring the block as close to the chair as I might need to, so that I can align my shoulders, wrists, elbows in a line. Legs are drawn apart. They're in a wider angle. So even though you're still maintaining contact, feel that difference by lifting up, lifting up. So you hardly have any weight into the hand on the block. Good. And then when we come up, go ahead and grab the block. Take it with you all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Let's just drop it behind the back. Find a nice rhythm of breath. Feel your balance in the chair. Maybe you got to squirm around a little bit. I feel like I'm not quite as centered as I want to be. And we're going to go for that full extension. We'll start with the center. Just briefly get yourself in place with an extension right through the center. But then we're moving to our other side. We're moving to the other side and stretching through the side body and keeping our pelvis level, balanced left to right, right to left, feet to the earth, managing the weight of the head. Let's deepen the breath. Make sure breath, the experience of your breath is part of what you're taking in, that mental or mind-body connection. The part of the equation there is how it feels to be breathing right here, right now. Get a hold of the block so we can just gently bring ourselves kind of upright. And then the block placement now is closer to the chair. We're aligning our shoulder over our elbow and wrist. You know, they're stacking the joints alignment principle. And then extend that other arm up to the ceiling. Turn your head so your ear is facing your hand on the block. Balance your pelvis. And then start lifting your body weight away from the block. So that's what it feels like. The softening, it just feels like the hand touching the block has got a softening, not really leaning, because you're bringing yourself up, up, up toward the ceiling. Beautiful. Get hold of the block now and bring yourself upright. I like to use that upper arm to kind of carry me up. And let's go back to using the block, back behind the back, up and down. Squeeze your elbows in toward each other, just a little, give it a little of that. So your elbows stay within the frame of your hips and shoulders. Good, all the way down. Let's just keep the block handy, maybe just under the chair. Let's bring our legs more to center, a little bit more like hips distance apart. Let's do that workout where we're using our biceps. So we're going to use the weight of our leg to create that resistance. So I want you to get your hands interlaced underneath your thigh and then give way. Let your leg just give way. So it is not holding itself up. You're holding that heavy leg up because of the strength of your arms. Lift it up as much as you're able. And then let's, get into the joints. Why not? And start moving around through your ankle and the toes. But remember, the heaviness of your leg is being managed by the strength of your arms. So it takes a little converting your mind to make that happen, but it's just a minute. Just get there where you're letting this be your weight bearing exercise here. Let's deepen the breath. Good, let's do some curls, some bicep curls. So you're gonna just let your arm do the work to lift the heaviness of your leg. And remember how fantastic it is that we can imagine that leg is heavy, maybe heavier. And sure enough, just by that awareness in our imagination and our intention, it feels heavier. And your arms are responding as though it's heavier. So there you are. Bicep curls. Let's do a few more. Take some repetition. It always does. Be willing to spend some time here. Bicep curls. And both feet to the floor. I'm going to say move your wrists. Let's just start taking care of the wrists, maybe circling around, any movement that just shows up for you as you deepen your breath, and maybe you're squirming a little bit to take care of a reset in your lower back or something. And then we're going to scoop up the other leg. Remember, just start to convert. So heaviness of the leg being held entirely by the strength of your arms, particularly your biceps. So while we've got the foot up in the air, let's start moving it. You start converting into this weight-bearing posture. Check in with your mouth, make sure there's no tension there. That doesn't help. Deepen the breath. Feel the strength of your body now. We're starting to build confidence in our upper body strength. Just moving, lifting our arms up and down, all of that is strengthening your upper body. But this is particularly, we're really targeting the bicep muscles. All right, if it feels like we've held this the same amount of time as we did the first leg, let's begin our bicep curl. So now we're lifting that heavy leg up and down. going to count. I've got a count in mind here, so I'm going to keep going. Repetition now. Connect your breath to it, so your breath is serving you. Let's do 3 more. Let's hold that, hold it up. And then both feet back to the floor. And again, let's get back into the wrists and the finger joints. Excellent. Let's take a wide stance, another opening up, take a wide stance. And this time we're going to use it for, I'm changing my mind here. Let's do this. Center one leg and open up the other. So we got our right angle between our legs and we're coming into the side angle posturing. So the block is going to be on the inner ankle part of the extended leg, the leg that's away from center. I'm calling that extended leg, but the knee is bent. Both knees are bent. We're going to rest our forearm into that and extend an arm past the ear. So this will warm us up, trying to place yourself in a position where the shoulders feel stacked and supported, and you're trying to get your rib cage to pull back. Your arm will help carry your rib cage back. And you're mindful of how your head is being held so that your neck is not going to have a problem with this. But let's deepen it. So that warms us up. Let's deepen into the hand on the block. And this time I want you to feel how your arm is pressing against your inner thigh and your thigh is pressing back, so there's tension between your arm and your leg. So let your leg push against your arm and let your arm push right back. Feel that difference? And then extend. Again, we're trying to lift the rib cage up, not just toward the head, which is our usual sensation of lifting up, but also through the side body. So you're trying to lift a little bit through the armpit area. See if you can find expansion. Let's use the word expanding rather than lifting. How about that? Keep your sit bones on the chair so you feel a little bit of awareness then of that right to left balance of your pelvis. So your pelvis feels pretty neutral, pretty well supported. One more full breath. Use that upper arm to bring you all the way up, all the way up. And then we'll switch sides. So take your time to reset. Centering a leg and drawing the other leg out. Both legs are in a right angle, bent knee. And we put the block right on the inner ankle of that extended leg. We'll start though by just bringing our forearm to the thigh and rotating, getting our shoulder to come back and raising that arm past the ear. Start to work it out. You know, this is your first go at this side, so there might be some movements, some adjustments, some kind of, you know, resetting a little bit to find just where you want to be. Remember, we're trying to expand through the rib cage. Let's deepen the breath, managing the weight of the head. Good, let's lift ourselves up. We're going to go for the deeper dive. So we're going to get our hand down onto that block. And remember, we're going to have a little tug of war where the leg is pushing into the arm and the arm is pushing right back. So engage that interaction between arm and leg before you raise up your arm overhead past your ear. The standing leg, that leg that's facing forward, don't forget about it. It's got to hold its own. Don't let it just cave in. Just make sure you're aware of that leg as part of this posture. Breathing in, breathing out, expanding through the chest cavity, managing the weight of your head. Soften the mouth. One more time, one more breath. And then we're going to let that arm lift us all the way up, all the way up. And I'm coming back to center. I got my block in the hand. We're going to lift that block up. Little side to side movements. Get your arms as close to your head as you can, given that you're holding your block. And keep your pelvis balanced. So even if you're leaning to the side or doing a side bend, your pelvis feels neutral, just balanced as if you were just sitting in a mountain pose. Back to center. Let's drop the block behind the back and come back up and down. Last time. And we're going to put the block to the side or under the chair. Let's get into the abdominal wall. Let's get a little strengthening there. I want you to simply open your feet just a bit wider than they are and just lift up so that you can touch your foot or your inner ankle. So lifting up, touching. And then do two. This is, in my view, this is pretty simple. So let's just add a little more to it by for sure doing two at a time. And then let's get a little stronger with the arms, which is going to make us do a little bit more kicking out. So arms are going to extend up. And now the leg lift. Alternate your legs straight out in front of you. Straight leg out. Arms are coming up and down. Find your breath. Stay with me now. We're going to go back to where we were. Bent knees coming up. We're touching the inner ankle. We do two. Two on each side. Couple more rounds like that. Here we go. Last one. Back to our mountain pose. Reset the body. Big breath in and out. Maybe you need to lean back into your chair for a moment. Take care of yourself here as you reset the body, and we'll meet in our mountain pose. I want you to get your arms behind you so you end up holding onto your elbows behind you. And notice how that brings your shoulder blades into right alignment. And you can lift up through your chest bone, that sternum lifts up. So this is a great way to just immediately find your place of good alignment at the back, particularly as it relates to how your shoulders are being held. Just hold it. Just feel yourself in this place of right alignment. Press into your pelvis a little bit so your sit bones become a part of your awareness as you lift your sternum, your chest bone up. But you keep your head neutral. Sometimes when we start lifting, the whole lift idea gets our face up there. So keep your head neutral. Expanding through the rib cage as you breathe in and out. Now slip one hand away from the back. So literally, I'll bet both arms are in the very same posture. They've got this little bend at the elbow. And I want you to turn your head toward the front hand, the front arm, that's the way you're going to turn. And I want you to press the back of your hand, the one that's behind you now, press it into your back body, right where it is. Press it in the back of the hand into the back body, which will pull the shoulder back and turn your head, keeping your head in its neutral position, not tilting the chin up or down. Let's deepen the breath. Press that back hand. It doesn't have to do it a lot. Just make sure there is engagement there, but not so much so that you can't breathe properly. And then we'll unwind back to neutral. We're simply going to switch arms. Get the other one behind you now. And the other one now, it's just the bent elbow, kind of your forearm is just resting into the belly area. Now press that back hand into the back body, turning your head now the opposite direction. You should be turning your head in the direction of the arm that's in front. Deepen the breath. So stay true to that exhale. Sometimes that's all it means to deepen the breath, is make sure you exhale completely. Press that back hand. Make sure it's engaged. Finish the breath you're on and come back to our neutral position. Good. Let's get ourselves up and out of that chair, shall we? I want you to just get yourself up and out of the chair. So you're just feeling the confidence of that, the balance of that. And when we come up, I don't think I need the block. I want you to align yourself with your chair so that it is supporting you from the side. So you've got your, let's just say it's everybody's going to have their chair on their left side of their body. So our right leg is in motion. So we're going to just start with some flex and extensions. I want you to just lift a straight leg forward and then kind of bring it back as it's a swinging action. So that's primary. But what secondary seems to be is that it's a pretty straight leg that can come forward, but it's more of a bent knee that pulls back. The swinging right through the center. Don't let it go wide of your hips. And try to keep your upper body upright so it isn't in motion. You're not rock and rolling the upper body so you can lift your leg, because your leg, we want to give that job to the muscles of the leg to do on its own. You do a quad stretch, so bending your knee. This is what it looks like. You're bending your knee and seeing if you can get a hold of that. Now, if you can't get a hold of your foot, you could grab something. I mean, literally, you could grab a t-shirt and, lasso that around there. But sometimes people maybe just grab hold of their pant leg and they're able to get a pretty decent quad stretch that way. See what you can manufacture. Be creative now. How could you bend the knee and find a bit of a stretch here through that quad? Upright, looking straight out, catch up with your breath. If you can add a little more to it, would be pulling your foot away from your back body. You don't want your knee to be in front of you. You want your knee to be alongside the other knee or behind it. One more good breath here. And then when we release, I want you to just step out. Just stay with the same leg we've been moving and just step away. Keep your gaze out and see if we can let go of the chair. So we're balancing as we move. Now add a little pattern. Step out to an angle, The knee bends and you're stepping into an angle. And then you go straight out. So just pattern it a little bit. Keep your gaze out. Find a drishti, something to focus on. And at the same time, you're creating a little pattern of movement, fine-tuning your balance, your ability to balance, and the coordination, I guess, that it requires. A couple more. Keep up your breath work. Nice job. Let's come back to a neutral position and shake the legs out. While we're here, let's get on the toes and drop them. I want you to move through your feet, stretch them out, get onto your toes, get on the balls of your feet. Just work it out. Create something that feels the stretch. Maybe you do this more of a squat, which puts a lot more body weight into it. I like to do it as sort of bicycling, where one heel comes up and down. This feels kind of fun. It seems pretty natural, a natural way to do it for me. And it's all about the feet. So you're trying to feel sensation. You're trying to get some stretch into the toes, into the balls of the feet, and the arch of the foot as well. Let's set up for the other side now. So we've got a standing leg near the chair for support. So we can use that chair anytime we want and as much as we want. So we start with a flex and extension. It's a swinging leg. Find your breath now. Just be aware of where's that inhale. There's no right or wrong about where you're inhaling or exhaling. It's just that you're aware that it's happening and you're connecting it to this movement in your body in some way, just by awareness. And you know what challenge feels like. So if this feels like it's just too simple for me, then maybe it means get your leg up higher. Get that leg up higher. Let's do the quad stretch now. That's where we bend the knee, get hold of that ankle. Draw your knee in toward the other knee. So you don't want your knee coming away from center. That's the big X. Bring it in toward center. And pull back if you can. Pull your foot back. You might try this without touching the chair as a way to balance and give yourself a challenge. There's ways you could do that. Find a focal point. Or if you're just simply working on that quad stretch and keeping your hand on the chair makes a whole lot more sense to you, that's what you're doing. Remember, your inner teacher, your guru Dave, that's who you follow. Let's release it now. Both feet to the floor, shake it out. And we're going to use hands to the waist if you can and step out. Keep your gaze out. Don't look at the floor. Try to step out and feel the connection to the floor. That's what's going to help you feel safe because you're aware of the connection from feet together to feet apart. You can feel it all. So you feel very confident about it. We're going to do that angle, just to create a pattern. Step away in sort of an angle. The knee bends and you dip into that or lunge into that. Couple more, whichever pattern, wherever you are. And feet will come back together. I want you to turn toward the chair now and stretch out. So start walking backwards, a light touch with hands on the chair, on the back of the chair, and get your arms to stretch past your ears, and your arms are as close to your head as your shoulders will allow you. Let's try to straighten the legs out. It might take a few breaths before you can really start that process. For now, you're just positioning yourself, flattening out the back body, feeling the stretch, feeling your body make its adjustments. Then you get into a deeper breath. You feel the rhythm of your breath. And that's when it's time to start challenging yourself. Trying to straighten the legs out. Remember, the whole surface of your foot is what we want to keep awareness in. So you're not just leaning back into your heels, but that you can feel your upper body being helped and supported by the balls of your feet and your toes too. And maybe to stretch those legs so there is no bend in the knee is one at a time instead of both together. So you allow one knee to bend or soften, and then you work on stretching the other one for just maybe a breath or two. Let's start walking toward the chair. Take your time coming up. As soon as you get there, you just pause, and you don't need to adjust, face anything different. You don't need to see me on the screen. You're coming up into a mountain pose and allowing your body to adjust and come back into equilibrium. So you're feeling your blood pressure adjust, waiting for the calming, centering. But feel the strength and the composure of a mountain pose here. Now I'm going to put myself into a bit of an angle so you can see me, but there's no reason you'd need to be that. I'm going to challenge you with what's called a seated pigeon pose. So remember how we cross our leg in our chair, we create this figure four position, where you just bring an ankle up. We do this in a seated position all the time. Can you do it standing? Can you just practice that by just laying your ankle on above the knee? And then hold it there and see if you can just pull your buttocks back, pull your whole pelvis back a little bit. So you're squatting and you can feel that, into the hips. So this is the pose I'm looking for. You might adjust it by pulling that leg up. So one hand on the chair, one hand on your leg could work really well. Pulling your buttocks back away from the chair. It's a squat-like position. So if you're feeling any discomfort in the knee of a standing leg, then don't do this. Don't do the pose. But if you can pull your body weight away from the knee, that standing leg, and squat a little bit, it's quite challenging, and it's a great hip opener. Palms together at the heart space is probably the cherry on top. Let's get both hands on the chair and come out of that. I want you to just shake it out. You don't need to do anything. I just want to give you the angle. Decide to do the other leg, your choice. We start by just patterning, just getting that leg to come up and lay open. Remember, we're trying to get it above the knee. But you want to be facing the chair now, facing the chair. So you can start squatting. And it's really helpful to just get one hand on the chair for balance and one hand on that cross leg. Pulling your buttocks back so there's no pressure in your knee. And there's quite a squat and quite a sensation in the hip, in the buttocks. Let's deepen the breath. Stay with it as long as it feels like something you want to do, that you're doing it, you're managing it just fine. Remember, hands together at the heart might be kind of how you finish it up. Like, there you go. There's my pose. It's deep and it takes a lot of intention and focus. Both hands will be on the chair to come out. Get yourself up gradually and let's shake those legs out. Let's get a wider stance with our feet. I don't know about you, but I got to catch up with my breath. But where we're heading is hula hoop. So that requires some real buoyancy in the knees as you let your hips go around and around in a hula hoop fashion. Keep finding the breath. Let's change the direction. Come back into a mountain pose. Close your eyes now. And just balance now in mountain pose. Deepen the breath so it's a full body experience of your breath. Eyes closed, or maybe your eyes are, you have a focal point down on the floor, so your eyelids are almost closed. And then let that be this way of really centering into your body, into the full breath that takes the whole body in its awareness. It's a pause into prana, or into the experience of the inner aliveness, the inner body experience, life force. Breathe all the way in and breathe all the way out. Let your breath be as your breath is. So you might be breathing out of your mouth quite a bit. All of that's fine. Get strong with your belly though. Let's engage that strength of the core. Imagine you've got the block between your thighs and hold the block there. Be strong about holding the block, that imaginary block between your thighs. Feel the difference in your body. More powerful, more intentional now. As you breathe all the way in and all the way out. Good. Let's slowly now open the eyes and come into a seated posture. Give me a minute or two before you settle into Shavasana. So come to the seated posture and let's cross the legs. We need to get a twist in here. Don't want to leave our practice without at least one twist. So cross one leg over top of the other. Squeeze those thighs together, kind of center yourself and try to feel again the balance of your pelvis, right to left and left to right. We're going to twist toward the top leg. So inhale your arms up, just stretch, get your rib cage lifted up and away from your hips. That's kind of the intention here. And start to move in the direction of the top leg. We got lots of different ways we've used tools. Maybe you bring the back of your hand back there and you start pressing into your back body and that pulls your shoulder back, works great. Or maybe you got yourself into you know your chair well, you know how to connect to the chair you sit on. So you're going to hold on to the chair and let it give you some leverage. Always mindful of the basic fundamentals of right alignment. Pelvis is level. The twist always starts low and works its way up. You turn your head when you're situated in the body. The rest of the body is all set up. That's when you start turning your head and working your neck through this twist. And of course, your body needs a lot of breathing. So you stay true to the fullness of your breath, not just a shallow, chest kind of breath. That's really not very useful. It's very mindful. And you're trying to give your twist the full benefit of a full body twist, of a full body breath. The bottom line, remember, exhale completely. That's always going to serve you well. Keep your body in the twist, turn your head out of it. And then relax your shoulders and your arms back to neutral. We're going to change our leg position, cross the other leg on top. And once you're ready, inhale to lift that rib cage up and away from the hips. And then the other way now, you're just twisting the other way, finding which, package of techniques you want to use to deepen into your twist. Pay attention to how your neck feels. Work it, work around, try to let the twist encourage more range, or at least staying with and continuing to have the range of motion that you do have. You don't want to lose it, that's for sure. Let this be a time of intimacy as we start to wind down from our practice and we slow the breath down. And you're deep into the body in this twist, very familiar. I'm sure very familiar. Start to soften, start to release, and the breath will start to slow down. Just turn the head out of the twist position. And then eventually we're going to unwind the shoulders and the arms. And now it's time to get both feet to the floor and find our relaxation position. So scoot yourself back so you can lean into the backrest. This is a time to get a drink, get something you might need to make sure you're very comfortable and well supported. So if you've got little items that you like to use, maybe you use essential oil, or it'd be kind of fun if this was a time when you lit a candle, something like that. Just make it more of a ritual. And I'm going to be quiet as you bring yourself into this relaxed state. Stay true to your breath as it comes in and out. Remember that, and I'm going to come step away from the camera, is remember that that is keeping us on task of the alert and focused mind. The mind will get busy the moment you turn off this Zoom and you start working back into your regular day's activities. Then the mind's going to pick up speed. So for now, keep it quiet. Just let it focus on the simplicity of the breath coming in and out. Listen for your breath. Try to hear it. Check in with your mouth. Make sure there's no tension. Relax your tongue. Relax your jaw. All the muscles of your face. This poem might be familiar. I know I've read it several times over the course of years, but it just kind of opened itself up to me today. This is where the book opened. I think it's our poem. It's a nameless poem, also by Danna Faulds. Life comes as is, no warranties, no extra buttons sewn inside the sleeve, no spare tire in the trunk. The twists and turns of circumstance or illness catch us unaware. Each day, 1,000 reasons to despair, lament, forget the reason we are here. And yet, despite the odds, the flame inside each one of us burns true. Like butterflies emerging from cocoons, we learn to spread our wings and fly. We seek and find the light. This body mind is born with all that is required to know freedom. Over time, we find life's only guarantee. We cannot be separated from divinity, nor cut off from the source of our supply. Yes, we will age and die, yet that is but a change in form. The essence of us soars as freely as a butterfly over fields of wildflowers. Beauty sipping nectar, blessed and evanescent. In form and essence, we are beauty, whole and simply present. So let's begin to introduce movement back into the body. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and then exhale it out of your mouth with the sound of a sigh. So it feels like a cleansing breath. And give yourself a couple more of those powerful cleansing breaths. And so let's sync up our breath one last time. Inhale with me, palms will come together up and overhead. Look up if that works for you. Look up. Exhale as you bow into your heart. Inhale back up. And exhale. This is where we share this beautiful, powerful energy of love and light with our communities. Fabulous. Palms come together at the heart. We bow to each other. We bow to ourselves. Namaste, my friends. Thank you for joining me.